Hello friends, it's Joelle and welcome back to another Eating Like K-pop Stars for a week. And this week we're eating like one of my absolute favorite K-pop boy groups, especially as of late, and that is 17. To break down how this week is gonna go, due to the volume of members in 17, I've dedicated each day to 2 members of the group, and I'll be eating meals inspired by them. Some disclaimers that I always have to make in these videos. 1, this is not a diet video. This is not about how to be snatched like a K-pop star. This is truly just me having an excuse to try new dishes and share some parts of my culture. And secondly, 17 has talked about so many different foods. I really tried to encompass what I felt like was a good range and still pay my respects to each member, so I apologize if I missed anything. If I did miss anything, feel free to comment it down below, but I hope you enjoy, and let's get on with the video. S.Coups is 17's leader, rapper, and sub-vocalist from Daegu. S.Coups was a trainee since 2010 and actually has been known to take a hiatus from 17 to take care of his mental health, which I really respect, especially in this industry. He said that when he was in school, he used to just have rice and side dishes for breakfast, so that's what I'm doing. Naturally, it's very easy to get a wide variety of side dishes pre-made from Korean grocery stores like H-Mart, because prepping all these little dishes can take so long. He is a big coffee fan, but says that he actually prefers to have green tea in the morning. I feel like pre-made H-Mart panchan is very representative of the young Asian American experience of just not having your parents around to make these things for you, so you just go buy it pre-made because you don't have time to do it all yourself because you're a working girl. I like putting some sesame seeds on to make myself feel fancy, and then I feel like samjang just makes everything taste better. Bone apple teeth, baby. Also, I know that when S.Coups said panchan, it could be a bunch of different things. There's so many different types of panchan, but I chose the veggies just because I haven't been eating very healthy lately, so this is good for me. Also, I was kind of surprised when S.Coups said that he has green tea rather than coffee in the morning, just because I feel like every Korean ever just drinks hella espresso. But then he says he saves that for later in the day, so we'll come back to that. So for lunch today, I know y'all probably had jjajangmyeon. It is the classic black bean noodles that is super popular in Korea and amongst a lot of K-pop stars. But that sauce, the jjajang sauce, is magical on anything, especially rice. So S.Coups said that he had a lunch of a little bit of jjajang rice. So that's what I'm gonna have for my lunch. I'm adding a little bit of veg to mine to, you know, have my daily doses of vegetables and nutrients, but it's super good on its own, sometimes with a little meat or seafood. You can kind of change it up to match your taste, but it's freaking delicious. This honestly looks so good. I'm so excited to eat this. One other thing I learned about 17 is that they drink a lot of Coke Zero. I'm personally not the biggest soda drinker, but I mean, I'll do it for 17, so you know. Literally took me like 15 minutes because half of this was pre-made. And I'm very proud of it, I will say. So if you're curious about why S.Coups is called S.Coups, which is a highly Googled search term, I've seen 2 reasons on the internet for it. One is that it's S for Seungkwan, obviously his birth name. And then coup, either for coup d'etat, like overthrowing the government, which is a choice, or choosing S for Seungkwan and 17, and coup meaning great success. Does coup mean great success in another language? Alrighty, so it is time for dinner now. Tonight's dinner is in honor of Hoshi, who is a main dancer and lead vocalist. The stage name, Hoshi, apparently means star in Japanese, very apt. And he also said that Japanese food is one of his favorite cuisines, so I'm making okonomiyaki. It is a very classic Japanese street food. It is kind of described as a savory pancake. Its base is actually made of cabbage, and then you add flour, eggs, and make a little bit of a batter, really similar to Korean pajeon in my opinion. You can toss in either bacon or seafood, and you top it with a really yummy savory sauce, Kewpie mayo, and some bonita flakes. This is my first time making it, so I'm a little nervous about how it'll turn out. But once I get this down, it's honestly a really quick, easy dish that you can make after work or on a weekday. Y'all, I messed up so much on this recipe that I'm just excited to get it into my body. I hope it's fully cooked. I hope this was fun, honest, and realistic, because truly, I think I messed something up every step of this recipe. I realized I didn't check to make sure if my shrimp was cooked. Y'all, I really hope I'm not giving myself food poisoning right now. As always, for day one, we gotta include a little bit of a 17 fact. So today's 17 fun fact is that there are 3 subgroups of 17. They break themselves up into the vocal, performance, and hip hop or rap subgroups. So 17 will release songs as a unit altogether and in their little subgroups. We are kicking off the day with a Jun meal. He is a lead dancer and sub-vocalist. He was actually born in Shenzhen, China, and was a child actor growing up. Very impressive. He can speak 3 languages, Mandarin, Cantonese, and Korean, and can play piano. He said growing up that it was really common for him to have dumplings or buns or noodles and just various Chinese dishes for breakfast. So I am having some steamed bao buns, which are one of my favorites. Very easy to get from the grocery store, frozen, and you just steam them in a wet paper towel in the microwave. When you don't overheat it, it actually tastes so delicious and fresh and bouncy. This is one of my favorites, which is filled with pork and chives, and I love having it with a little bit of soy sauce, some black vinegar, and some chili oil. It is a Woozi inspired lunch. Woozi is one of the lead vocalists. He's a producer. He's known for being able to sing some of the highest notes of 17, I believe. And he's also credited with establishing a lot of 17's unique sound as a really brilliant producer and composer. So pop off king. Apparently chapagetti, which is just an instant jjajangmyeon brand that is one of my favorite Korean fast foods, is his favorite. So I'm gonna have that for a very quick, easy little lunch. Okay, honestly, I have not had chapagetti in a really long time, so I'm very excited. It is such a mystery to me how Korean and just Asian instant foods in general have gotten so good. Okay, and while we're here, I'll obviously have to share today's 17 fun fact, and that is I feel like 17 is notorious for having 13 members instead of 17. There's many theories as to why that is. I think they've officially announced that it's because it's 13 members plus 3 subgroups plus 1 17, or 17 being 1 with their fandom. Alternatively, there's a theory that they started out with 17 trainees and a few of them dropped out, so now there's only 13 members. I'm not gonna say which I think is true, but you know, you can let me know in the comments below. So for dinner tonight, it is Jun inspired. Jun, as I mentioned, is from Shenzhen, China. So I decided to have something that is relatively typical to Shenzhen, which is a coastal part of China. They have a lot of seafood, and congee or rice porridge, similar to Korean juk, is very popular there. So I'm having an abalone congee or juk. Technically juk because I bought a Korean pre-made version, but they really are super similar, so I'm using them interchangeably here. On the side, I decided to have some Chinese stir-fried veggies. I seasoned my bok choy and cabbage with a little bit of oyster sauce, some dark soy sauce, which actually doesn't mean that it's saltier soy sauce. It just has a little bit of a deeper, different flavor. And of course, I used a little bit of ginger powder and white pepper, which is one of my favorite seasonings. I really enjoy and appreciate the fact that 17 has a little bit more of a multicultural group with 2 members from China and 2 members from the States. I mean, if you got 13 members, they might as well represent a few more parts of the globe, right? Good morning, friends. Today is our Seungkwan and Wonwoo day. Seungkwan is such a little cutie. He is a vocalist and one of the faces of the group, apparently. Loves iced Americanos, as one does. I've made so many iced Americanos in these K-pop foods videos, but apparently Seungkwan was also offered a spot as a trainee at JYP, but rejected it, which is a flex. Obviously, I'm very glad he did, so he could end up in 17, and for my actual food, I'm having a little bit of cereal. Wonwoo is known for being a cereal lover. He said that he would have it for breakfast a lot as a kid, and I saw this clip of him eating chocolate cereal. It was a Korean brand. Unfortunately, I couldn't go to H Mart, and then when I went to Trader Joe's, they didn't have chocolate cereal. I took that as a sign from God that maybe I shouldn't be eating chocolate first thing in the morning, so I got a similarly shaped cereal of my little off-brand strawberry Cheerio things. This is technically a Seungkwan meal because I know that he loves burgers. That being said though, 17 says that they often get like burgers or fast food, particularly McDonald's. I think they might have said they even have McDonald's for breakfast sometimes. But I found a burger place that I've seen advertised a 10 nearby, so I decided to get something from there just because, I'm sorry, I was not feeling a McDonald's burger. But anyways, this was unintentionally much more LA than I had meant it to be, because apparently this burger place I see everywhere is vegan. But I got myself some shoestring fries, some sriracha aioli, despite the current sriracha shortage. It kind of tastes like Impossible meat or something. Honestly, it's pretty good. The bun is also super fluffy. It tastes really good. I think it's kind of funny because I feel like people always expect K-pop stars to be on diets or eating really healthy, which I think some of them do, and like they take care of their physical appearance obviously. But fast foods and instant foods are so popular and common in Korea and so much more easily accessible than cooking for yourself. Also, I feel like when you're dancing for literally a billion squillion hours a day, it doesn't matter as much what you eat. You know, you can eat a burger every now and then and you'll still have a six-pack. But honestly, it's not like I'm trying to have a six-pack anyway, so I will enjoy my burger. It's now nighttime, which means it's time for our dinner. But tonight's dinner is inspired by Wonwoo. He is one of the rappers of the group. He apparently has the lowest voice of the group, so you know we're all about that range. And he says that myeokguk, which is a Korean seaweed stew, is one of the only dishes he knows how to make. It's actually super simple. It has literally like 4 ingredients where you just have your seaweed that you soak, you boil it with a little bit of beef, and then season it with some garlic, maybe some soy sauce or some fish sauce, and it gets all tender because you boil it for a really long time. It's delicious. It's also commonly eaten by pregnant women because it's really rich in iron, and then because of that, it's a tradition to have it on your birthday because it's supposed to remind you of your mom who ate it for weeks and weeks when she was carrying you and after giving birth to you. Very sweet. It also happened to be my birthday this week, so I am eating it just in time for my own celebration. Wait, my myeokguk's kind of good. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed. And I'm just gonna end it off with today's 17 fun fact right here, that 17 had a reality show called 17 TV that documented their trainee years and ran for 2 years before they debuted. Good morning, good morning. And today we were eating like V8 and DK. So DK is a main vocalist. He has a very bubbly personality and brings a lot of joy to the group. He also says that YB is one of his favorite artists and really heavily influenced him artistically in his career, which is really cool. One of his absolute favorite foods is apparently doenjang, which is a fermented soybean stew. I always say for anyone looking to try more different Korean dishes, if you like kimchi jjigae or if you've had budae-jjigae, which is the army stew, doenjang is just absolutely up that alley. It is so rich and flavorful and is really simple to make, very akin to miso soup, but I like to toss in a lot more veggies, and of course you always gotta have it with some rice on the side. The I'll talk about more later, but he apparently always starts his day with some vitamins, so I'm having those before I dig in. No, Mom, I'm gonna cut it out.
All of us just like, oh.
I was have you and other people.
No, I woke up and I smelled it and I was like, thank God.
Thank God, Joelle. Eating like 17. For lunchtime today, we're having a delicious Chinese meal because V8 is a lead dancer and rapper from China. He's apparently 17's main b-boy dancer and studied wushu martial arts, which if you've ever seen it, definitely lends itself to some b-boy / general hip-hop dancing tendencies. He said he generally prefers Chinese foods over Korean, and one dish that he knows how to make himself is a Chinese style shrimp. I wasn't sure exactly which shrimp dish he was referring to because there are so many Chinese shrimp dishes, but I decided to go for a really classic, simple salt and pepper shrimp. It is so yummy and easy to make. It has a few various spices, obviously salt and pepper and Shaoxing cooking wine. Don't know if I'm saying that right, but you toss it in with some garlic and green onion and it is chef's kiss. This looks and smells so good. I honestly feel like shrimp is a very underrated protein. It is so easy to prep, and the key to making a dish like this taste really good is just not overcooking the shrimp so that it's tender and bouncy and has a nice bite to it. Shrimp cheers. It's so good. It literally tastes like I bought it at a restaurant. And the cornstarch that you coat the shrimp in really helps all the flavors stick to the shrimp. So good. And while I'm enjoying my lunch, today's 17 fact is that the 17 fandom is called Carrot. The name was decided by fans after the song Shining Diamonds, which 17 performed before their debut, and because, of course, 17's fans helped them to shine. And the name Carrot was announced on Valentine's Day in 2016. It is now dinner time, and I hope you guys appreciate my dedication to these videos because I told my friends that we had to get pizza tonight because DK loves pizza. He's very vocal about his love for pizza.
My favorite food is pizza. Have a
your,
nice day.
What's your name?
You guys had like 1 year.
It's me. We're just gonna ignore the fact that I'm wearing a BTS sweatshirt right now. I just got it for my birthday. I know, we stan 17. My sister got it for me. I thought it was cute. But today's foods are in honor of our 2 English speakers, Joshua and Vernon. Starting out with Joshua. Joshua is a lead vocalist. He's originally from Los Angeles, so shouts out. And apparently when he can eat whatever he wants, he likes to opt for greasy, satisfying kind of diner foods. So he says that he loves pancakes and bacon. I would honestly be very curious to know if these types of foods are ever really eaten in Korea for breakfast. I know souffle pancakes got popular and people throw pork belly in pretty much everything, but there's something really specific about that super salty, crispy, cured bacon taste. And paired with a sweet pancakes, it's just an American classic match made in heaven. I haven't had pancakes in so long. You can see where I burnt it. That's so bad. Look. Oh, I'm gonna eat it anyways. Danielle's got her little booter. They look like chocolate, like white chocolate. I am so hungry for lunch and so excited for this orange chicken. That is apparently one of Joshua's favorites. Continuing the theme of greasy American foods, Joshua has said that when he misses home and is nostalgic, orange chicken is an example of one of the foods that he misses because you don't get orange chicken in Korea. Whenever people are like, why do K-pop idols like going to Panda Express? It's because no one eats Panda Express style Chinese food in Asia. It's fully American food. I feel like I got the most American of the American versions of orange chicken, and that is the frozen Trader Joe's orange chicken. I'm pairing it with the cabbage stir fry just to get a little veg in. I feel like with the orange chicken, I probably could have air fried it and that maybe would have been an easier way to cook it, but the sauce just comes on the side, toss it in the microwave for a few minutes, and this is apparently my better than Panda Express orange chicken, according to Mr. Trader Joe's cashier. It's like really good. It hits the spot for sure. Like the super sweet glazed chicken. They kind of taste like candy, like because it hasn't been sitting there in the glaze, it's actually still crispy. Versus when you get it at a restaurant like Panda Express, it's normally a little like squishy. My cabbage stir fry I already know is gonna be fire. For our dinner tonight, it is a Vernon inspired dinner. Vernon is a rapper, apparently one of the faces of the group, and he was actually born in New York. I believe he's Hapa, like his dad's Korean and his mom's white, or it's not Korean, something else. Some of his fans apparently think that he looks like Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't think I see it personally, but let me know if you do. And he said for lunch that he had cheese tonkatsu, so that's what I'm trying to make. It is a very interesting dish. I found a recipe where you can air fry it rather than deep frying it, but you pound your pork, which I did not do well, and wrap the mozzarella in it. I can't say that I finessed this dish perfectly. It looked a little crazy, but then you spread it in your egg yolk and flour and some toasted panko crumbs that I fried separately because they don't get as nice and crispy brown in the air fryer. And it was super yummy and my family ate it.
We made it very tender, Joelle, not overcooked.
Yay.
Crunchy.
Really good.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yay! And today's fun fact is that 17 first started receiving a lot of international attention after their first music show win with Pretty You, which occurred over a year after their debut. And I'm very excited because I feel like their international attention is just continuing to rise. But we're picking things back up with Dino and Jeonghan's day today. Dino, of course, is the star maknae, or youngest of the group. He's a main dancer, sub-vocalist, and sub-rapper, so he can just do everything. For breakfast, he likes to start his day with some jasmine tea, so that's what I'm gonna have. And he's a big fruit guy. Loves his grapes, his apples. It's stone fruit season, so I'm throwing in some peaches or plums or pluots or whatever these are. And I think it's really sweet that Dino actually learned how to dance from his parents. His parents are apparently both dancers as well, so when he was younger, he used to dance with his dad, and that's what led him to be the amazing dancer he is today. We are making some bootleg dakmanduguk. It is a very classic dumpling and rice cake Korean soup that Dino is apparently a big fan of and would have for lunches sometimes. Normally the soup, you take hours to boil your beef to get some really nice rich broth, and you can shred that beef over your dumplings and rice cakes. However, with my current day job, I do not have time to do that. So we are throwing this together with some bouillon, some dashi, just quick seasonings to make it taste decent, and we are sadly not gonna have any beef. Dino would be very disappointed, but I think it'll still hit the spot with a few various seasonings, and of course with an egg cracked in, it makes it taste 10 times better. You know, it'll do. While we're enjoying our soup, today's 17 fun fact is that their debut EP, 17 Carat, charted on the Billboard World Albums list for 11 weeks, making it the longest charted album there for the year. I am so glad tonight is a very easy dinner. It is just some fried chicken and beer, which is a classic that I feel like almost every K-pop group That's a staple I feel like pretty much every male K-pop group I've done a video for enjoys, but Jeonghan in particular is a fan of fried chicken. It's one of his favorites apparently, and he enjoys having this as like a little guilty pleasure meal at the end of the day. Jeonghan is a lead vocalist and visual for the group. He was apparently a guest judge also on Korean Masked Singer, I think. Also, if you didn't know what a visual position is for a K-pop group, they tend to be very conventionally attractive according to Korea's very, very rigid beauty standards, and it results in them oftentimes getting a lot more brand deals and kind of being the face representative of the group in a much more commercial sense. If you have further thoughts on what the Korean visual is, feel free to leave those in the comments down below. Yes, I'm very excited for this fried chicken. I love it with pickled radishes on the side because the acidic radishes kind of balance out the sweet fried greasiness of the chicken. I'm so excited. Love a good Korean beer that kind of tastes like carbonated water. Cheers, y'all. Honestly, still tastes really good though. With your pickled radish. The glazed ones are very uncrispy. Hello friends, I believe we've made it to our final day of eating like 17. Of course, before we end, we have to eat like Mingyu. We love Mingyu. He is a rapper and sub-vocalist and is a big food lover. Apparently he's one of the few 17 members that can actually cook. He did also say that kimbap is a really common breakfast for him. If you've never had it before, it is just rice, veggies, meat, wrapped in seaweed. It's not sushi. Never call it sushi. Mine is unfortunately frozen because I didn't have time to go get fresh ones this morning, but when I was little, my grandma showed me this little hack where she would dip it in an egg wash, kind of similar to French toast, and then fry it on a skillet, and it kind of helps revive the moisture of the rice and heat everything up and make it all yummy and not like it was in your freezer for 5 days. So that's what I'm trying to do to make mine taste good again. Next up for lunch for Mingyu, we are making some bibimbap, which is a cold, spicy buckwheat noodle dish that Mingyu apparently made for himself and for some of the other 17 members. It is delicious on a hot summer day because it's nice and crisp. I like mine with some sliced cucumbers and some Asian pear. I didn't have an Asian pear, so I'm using a honey crisp that I found in my fridge, but the flavor profile and the texture is similar enough, I feel like. I'm clearly just using an instant version right now, but the sauce is normally comprised of seasonings like gochujang and maybe some sesame oil, and you actually normally blend up a little bit of the Korean pear for the spicy sauce to give it that fresh sweetness. Cold buckwheat noodles are one of my all-time favorites in terms of Korean cuisine, so I'm super excited to dig in. This is so good. The spicy and the sweetness, perfect. Having a little crunch from the cucumber and the apple, incredible. Some fun random facts about Mingyu that you might not have known. He's apparently very into hairstyling, so he's in charge of styling 17's hair, allegedly. And apparently he's very neat and tidy. He likes to vacuum the dorm, and he's homies with BTS's Jungkook. For dinner tonight, I wanted to make something that 17 says that they often have all together, and that is tteokbokki, which is just a spicy rice cake dish. My little sister doesn't like that much spice, which is why color-wise my sauce doesn't look that red. But I normally use fish cake and use the dashi broth that comes with the frozen fish cake. It's very, very convenient. And for this tteokbokki, I like using my little fun shapes of rice cakes that are super, super cute. I also decided to make mine rapokki, which is just ramen tteokbokki. And it just cooks off the water a little bit more and all stews together to be super, super delicious and chewy and carby and amazing. I would also say of popular Korean dishes, it's shockingly easy to make, so would definitely recommend if you've never tried it. Oh, everyone is attacking my
Well, eat it, eat it. Let's see if it's good. I'm not. Joelle's made this in a really disgusting manner before.
It's good.
It's good?
Mhm.
Alright, I'll go get some.
Our rice cakes are little fun shapes.
When you use that weird K-pop stars.
This is one of my better ones. Before I end this video, I'm having, I think, my only dessert of this video, and it's a little Twix in honor of Vernon, who is nicknamed Twix for bringing Twixes to the practice room apparently so much when they were trainees. But our final 17 fact for this video is that Sector 17, which is 17's latest release as of this video right now, was 17's 7th album to sell over 1 million copies. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think 17 is an incredibly underrated group. I feel like they're so, so talented and have an incredible range of music styles that they can execute on very, very well. I am super excited to see how they pop off in the coming years, and I hope you all enjoyed coming along this video, please let me know which meals looked the best to you. Which 17 member would you want to share a day of meals with? And let me know if you try anything that you were inspired to make from this video. I always say in these videos that I freestyle a lot of my recipes, but when I do follow one, I always link it down below so you guys can check it out. So I hope you enjoyed and learned a little something new. Love you, Jesus loves you, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.